Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. Unfortunately, Casey is under the weather today, so she won't be able to join us, but we're still going to go ahead with our topic that we are discussing today. And what I really wanted to get into with you guys is the idea of working with a professional on your arthritis or your autoimmune condition versus trying to do it on your own. But before we get started, I'll just quickly introduce myself for any of you who are not familiar with who I am. My name is Jessica Melnick. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, the founder of the Anti-Arthritis Method, the host of the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions Group, and I help both women and men with various forms of arthritis get back to living life the way they choose to, not the way that they have to. So, like I said, today we're going to dive into talking about working with a professional on our autoimmune condition or arthritis versus doing it on our own. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I talk to so many people and they just get to a point where, they've done the things their doctor has recommended and they may have done well for quite a while, but then their medication may have stopped working, or perhaps it's just not working quite well enough and they're still experiencing a lot of pain or stiffness or immobility. And a lot of people just want a non medicinal option or something to complement their medication routine that they're already on. And a lot of people know that they need to eat properly in order to reduce inflammation in the body, to heal their gut, to get their condition under control. And they just want a better option. And so what ends up happening is we have and I've been there myself, doing all this research, just tons and tons of research, spending tons of time on Google, and just getting overly overwhelmed and confused because there's so much conflicting information, and it's hard to know, which plan to follow, who's right. And also, then it's like, okay, so now if I'm going to follow this plan, now I've got to get recipes together. I've got to figure out what foods to eat and where I'm going to buy these different foods for these recipes. And it just becomes, I think, really overwhelming, especially if you're somebody who is already busy in their day to day life, which I think most of us are, with careers or families and other responsibilities. And we just don't want to take the time to really figure it out on our own. So, I know Casey and I have talked about this before, where we kind of see it as like there's a couple different types of personalities out there. And, there's those of us who tend to be really independent and have a hard time asking for help. And then there's also people who are more, tend to thrive in a group and like to be like to confer with other people. And sometimes there's a mix of people in between, but we find that sometimes those of us who I know, like myself and Casey, where you tend to be really independent, have a hard time asking for help, and just really used to trying to figure things out on their own, versus somebody who is naturally inclined to engage with other people and ask other people for their opinion and work together to find solutions. So we kind of look at it as, back in the day when we were in school, we're the type of person who is at the front of the class or at the back of the class kind of figuring it out on their own. Now, what I have learned the hard way over time is that I need to ask for help. And I know that I'm not the only one out there. I know there's a lot of women and men out there who have a hard time asking for help. And I don't know if it's partly because I know for me, I didn't want to be an inconvenience to other people. Or sometimes I figured, well, I'm smart enough. I can figure this out on my own. And what I did learn over time is that by reaching out for support, I was able to get things done a lot more quickly, a lot more efficiently, and correctly, as opposed to a whole lot of trial and error trying things out on my own. And so that's why we hire people to help us with different things. If we have like a major leak in our house, we're going to call a plumber. Most of us aren't skilled in the plumbing area. I know I sure aren't. I'm not. So I'm going to call a plumber if I've got a plumbing issue. We call a mechanic. We take our car in when our car breaks down. we need to reach out to professionals when we have a significant issue that needs to be solved. And some things are just better done with help as opposed to trying to figure it out on our own. So, like I said, what I've learned over time is you save so much time and energy by asking for help. So you don't have to do all the research on your own. And there's reasons why the professionals we reach out to go to school to become specialists in what they do. And I know myself, when I have a health issue that I'm not able to solve myself, even with my educational background, I reach out to a professional that I know can help me. And yes, sometimes it is a bit of a stretch financially for what I necessarily wanted to spend, but I also know that my health means that it's priceless. If I don't have my health, then I don't have quality of life, and I, quite frankly, wouldn't be able to run my business either. So it's weighing those pros and cons and looking at, what is truly, truly important. And another reason why working with a professional on our health is it's going to give you reassurance that you're on the right track and you're doing the right thing. And also having a supportive community in that regard can be really, really helpful as well. So you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other and you can ask questions and say, like, hey, has anyone experienced this, or has anyone experienced that? Or, does anyone have any tips for such and such a problem? And I know, for example, in the group that I run, in my paid program, the Anti Arthritis Method, my clients are amazing. And we have a private Facebook community where they can post their questions and their concerns. And even if they just need to reach out for support, and our community is so amazing and they're so supportive of each other. So I'm in there answering questions, but it's also amazing that the group members can learn from each other, because we have people who have been doing the program for several months. And then we also have some that are in there who are brand new. And the group members who have been working on the program for several months, they have so much valuable experience and advice that they can offer the other members in terms of, streamlining the process, making it easier, different shortcuts, even recipes, that we find like a real winner. We really like to share that as well, because it's all about making that process smoother and just keeping everybody moving along. So having that community support can be so, so valuable. Also, if you're in a group of people with a really positive mindset, with a really good mindset of, I'm going to figure this out. We're going to do this. I'm going to reach out for support. There's so much positive energy that you can really gain from other people, and you just feed off of each other with that positive energy. And we all need that, especially if we're dealing with health issues. We all need that positivity. It's so easy for us to get stuck in a kind of a downward spiral or a negativity loop where we're really down in the dumps and sometimes feeling helpless or hopeless. But when you're surrounded by other people who are determined to improve their health and are working towards that, and we're all supporting each other, oh my goodness, you guys, that energy is so motivating. It's so powerful. And connection is also one of the most important things that we need in order to be healthy as well. So, just wanting to put that out there. Connection and community, so, so important. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about why we resist getting help. So, I've already touched on this a little bit earlier today. I know for me, like I said, asking for help was one of those things where, I didn't want to be a burden or an inconvenience to anybody. And I was like, well, I can figure this out. I'm smart enough to figure this out. I don't want to spend the money, all those things. Oh my goodness. And uh, like I said, I've learned the hard way that putting off reaching out for support it makes the process drag out so much longer, and then it just like spending time with trial and error trying to figure things out on your own, that is a lot of energy. I find that is just wasted when, for especially if we don't really know if we're going in the right direction, if we're trying to figure it out on our own. So I totally believe when it comes to health, investing time and effort and money into professional support to get you where you need to go with your health is a great investment, because that's going to improve your quality of life. And when you have quality of life, that's what's going to keep you thriving at work or thriving within your family unit or whatever else it is that you're responsible for. And that gives you that quality of life that you so deserve. Another reason why I think that we tend to resist getting professional help is fear of failure. Maybe we've tried things before and it didn't work and we were really disappointed. Maybe we signed up for something to get help and then we didn't follow through with it. And we've done that more than once and we've let ourselves down. So that's another reason I think that we resist getting professional help, because we don't want to waste our time and our money if we're not going to follow through on something. But one thing that I have learned as well is that when we do invest in professional support financially and time wise, we show up and we do the work, because we don't want to waste the money that we've spent, and we don't want to be like, we don't want to waste that time and energy either. So we tend to show up and we have made an investment in our health when we are getting professional support. So just please keep that in mind. Um, and let's look at some of the costs. What are some of the costs of not reaching out for support and doing it on our own and not getting anywhere? So, again, we spend so much time and energy not getting where we want to be. And sometimes we just end up chasing our tail, running around in circles, trying to figure it out, not really getting anywhere, not feeling better. And that's just time and energy that, we could have been working towards our goal and getting our health back in check a lot faster and getting to feel better a lot sooner. And another one of the costs of not of doing it on our own and not getting the results we want is just not being able to continue to work. I know there's a lot of us, if I would have continued to be as sick as I was years ago, I wouldn't have been able to work. And that would have been devastating for me. Some of us don't have that option of not working. And it can be absolutely terrifying at the thought of not being able to provide for ourselves. And also for those of you who are in retirement, oh my goodness, like you worked so many years. It's time to enjoy. And I think that that is one of those times where it's like, who wants to spend their retirement sick? Like that's the time when I know a lot of my clients are excited to travel and see the world, because they haven't had these experiences as much when they were working throughout their lives over the past like 25 to 45 years. Think about that, you guys. You want to spend time with your grandkids. You want to do these fun things. You want to be active and golf and play tennis and do all these things that you didn't get to do while you were working. So we really want you to enjoy that. So that's another cost of not getting help. Um, Also, sometimes a cost can be medical bills, depending on where you live in the world, having to stay in the hospital, having sick time, excuse me, having to be on disability or being off work indefinitely because you're just physically not able to. Having side effects from medications or long-term physical side effects from taking medications for the long term. When you've been like, oh, I really need to talk to my doctor about reducing these and getting off of these, but you need another option to feel better so that your body is strong enough to reduce medication. And also, let's think about your relationship quality when you're ill. I know myself, like when I'm not feeling well in the past, when I'd be having a flare up, you can't make plans because you don't know if you're going to be feeling well enough to see either your friends or your family. You just don't know what's going to hit you that day or any given day. And so relationships can suffer, your self image can suffer, again, your career and also your mental health. Oh my goodness. And that's something I know all of you are aware of. Anybody who's struggling with arthritis or an autoimmune condition, being ill affects our mental health because we are so restricted in what we can do when we're ill, or even like just somewhat restricted. Sometimes we might have things somewhat under control enough that we can still function and do things, but not to the point where we're actually thriving. It's just kind of having this nagging pain and nagging fatigue that's just always there, holding us back and weighing on our shoulders. So I know for me, that's a huge, huge cost of not having optimal health. So that is one of the main, such important reasons I think reaching out for professional support in order to get your arthritis under control, or if you have an autoimmune condition as well, so, so important to reach out for support. Like I said, we go to school for different things, different people specialize in different things. And that's why we have different professionals, is for different purposes. So, like I said, when your car breaks down, you take it into the mechanic. And when your body breaks down, you need to reach out to a professional as well to get some help too. And it speeds up the process for you. It gives you so much reassurance that you're on the right track and you get results. So, this is exactly the reason why both myself and Casey have the programs that we do. Mine in particular is called the Anti Arthritis Method. And I created this program because it's the exact thing that I wish that I would have had so many years ago when I first started having arthritis symptoms and just feeling lost and not knowing what to do, not having a community or somebody besides my doctor that gave me any other options besides taking medication. And I've created this program because this is exactly what I needed, exactly what I would have wanted at the time. And it's what I use to help my clients manage their arthritis symptoms, get those under control so that you can get your mobility back, that you can also get your energy back, and just get your quality of life back in general. So, if you are really confused about where to head and you're looking for a way that is natural in order to get your arthritis symptoms under control, and you are wanting to, you're just wanting a non medicinal option and just focus on the right food, and you're just not sure where to start, which is where most of us were at one point, then reach out to me. I have actually my anti-arthritis method program info and FAQ session tomorrow evening. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I will post the link to register for that event. It is free to attend. You can come and learn all about my program, the history and science behind it, how it works, why we do what we do in the program. So if you are curious about getting professional support and you want to know more about what that looks like in detail, then please join me for my info session tomorrow. If you register but you're not able to attend, you will receive a replay the following day via email. And again, I will post that link below this live in Facebook, so you can click on that link to register. I hope to see you there. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will be back on Thursday with a recipe to share with you all. And I hope to see you soon. All right. Take care, everybody.